Well, I was going to do a tune-up on this 57 Chevy, but my car is in my garage in pieces, and he said he wasn't in a hurry, but it looks like he's not going to be able to wait for me to get my car back together. So looks like he's going to have somebody else do a tune-up on his 57 Chevy. But right now it's getting loaded up on a car hauler, and they're going to probably take it to one of his mechanics that he goes to regularly. Whoever's going to tune it up for him, it's not going to run as good as it would if I tuned it up. So it'll probably still come to me again. But right now it's getting loaded on a car hauler. Now the reason it's getting towed right now is because he tried to work on it, and after he got done working on it, it wouldn't start anymore. Kind of wish my garage was empty for him because I wanted to tune it up. But if you've seen my videos, you know this is one of the cars that's in my videos. It's a pretty clean, restored 57 Chevy. It's a nice car. It's got a saggy left rear leaf spring, but other than that, it's a pretty beautiful car. If you like four-door big boats like this. That's kind of a bummer because I did want to fix it for him. Today I'm doing a tune-up on a 1957 Chevy 283 small block Chevrolet engine. So right now I am pulling out my car so I can pull in this 57 Chevy that's right across the street here. it comes. Okay, what we're doing now is we're getting ready to set the gap on the points on this 283 small block 57 Chevrolet engine. So what we have to do is we've already removed the distributor cap, which is this right here. There's two L-shaped hooks that are spring-loaded that hold this thing to the base of the distributor there. And what we're doing now is we need to remove the rotor, this right here, to get to the points, which are these down here. Once I get this removed, I'll show you how to gap the points on this 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air. Okay, we have the feeler gauge in the gap on the points, which is supposed to be set at 16 thousandths. So what we do here is, this is the feeler gauge. The gap is right there. And what you do is you make sure that this, when you move it, it has to hit the very highest part of the distributor shaft to open the points to the specified gap. So when you have it like this and you move it like that a little bit, it'll probably fall out. The feeler gauge will probably fall out if I move it. So see, there it goes. You have to move it back and forth like this so that the gap actuates on the points. You see it? This part right here. See how it's opening and closing? It's got to be on the high point. There's a bunch of tits running around on that camshaft, and they have to be on the highest point of that tip to set the feeler gauge in that gap, and then you need to adjust the gap with this part right here. Stick a screwdriver in here and then adjust it accordingly. I believe I've got it gapped at 16 thousandths right now, so we're going to go ahead and install the rotor, and then we'll go ahead and put the distributor cap back on. Okay, we found a couple of bad wires going to the coil also, so we went ahead and cut off the bad connections and put on some new connections. That's what those blue things are that are going right to the coil right there. And there's a red one right there that needs to be extended so it can go down to that sensor down there. I think that's the oil sending unit. Once we get a little more length on that wire, then we can connect it up to the oil sending unit down there. So that's where we're at right now on getting this 1957 Chevy dialed in. Okay, another thing we did was we tightened up the bolt going to the fuel line coming off the fuel pump. You see it right down there. It's right under this. That's the fuel line we just tightened up. You know somebody already worked on it because it was loose and it's got Teflon on it. So we tightened it up. And what you do after that is you make sure this fuel line that goes into the fuel filter, that goes into the carburetor, make sure that it's not touching anything on the block. You don't want it touching the valve cover, and you don't want it touching this heater hose right here, because if it does, what it does is it makes the fuel in that line too hot, makes it start bubbling, and then it causes vapor lock. So we're getting ready to start this car up here in a minute. We're going to do a timing. We're going to do the timing on it, and then we'll see what happens. We're getting ready to fire it up right now. Okay, let's see what happens. Here we go. Ooh, that lit right up. Okay, we got it running. It didn't start as smooth and as nice as I'd like it to, but it's doing okay in the idling department. What we're going to do is a little more tuning on it, so after it gets all the way up to operating temperature, we set the timing, and then we'll go for the air-fuel mixture, which is those little screws right under the carburetor there. I don't think you can see them right now. We'll let it warm up for about 10 minutes, and then we'll go for the timing. It's supposed to be set at 4. See that little white mark right there? That's the timing mark. That is actually set at 0 where the white mark is. So we have to go 2 degrees up. Every 2 degrees, every line is 2 degrees. So we'll let it warm up and then we'll go after the timing marks. The way we do the timing is that bolt on the distributor cap needs to be loosened, the hold down, and then you turn the distributor cap side to side, and that gives you the mark on the timing. And then once we do that, we have to disconnect that hose and then plug it off, and then we can set the timing. So we're going to go ahead and let it warm up for a little bit. That's pretty nice. Just needs a little tweaking.